shaken yet standing firm. This is Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211. And Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
And now,
Radio Cayman presents
The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter.
Radio Cayman's Business Buzz.
Here's your host,
Anita Khan.
Good morning and welcome to another Business Buzz. It's a beautiful day on the outside, overcast. There was a lovely rainbow while I was driving into work. It was way up in the sky. I've never seen one so high. It's normally, a little bit lower, but this one is really, really high, but beautiful nevertheless. It's a beautiful day in the Cayman Islands. As you just heard, my name is Anita Khan, and I'll be keeping you company on the Business Buzz this morning. Thanks to our producer, Miss Susan Watson. She's holding things down in the other studio. And we have our guest with us this morning on this first segment, Dr. Eki and Miss Allison Mulder. She is a speech language therapist and audiologist, and they're coming to us from ENT in Cayman, and they're here to talk about their new speech and swallowing therapy services. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Anita. Thank you for having us today.
You're very welcome. And that was the voice of Dr. Eki and Allison. Good morning.
Morning,
She's the
Anita.
only other female in the room. It's a pleasure to have you both in the studio this morning. Now, this is the first time I have to be honest with you. This is the first time I'm hearing about ENT in Cayman. So forgive me.
So ENT in Cayman is an ENT office for diseases of the ears, nose, and throat. It has been established in 2018, and we are 3 doctors providing full service in ear, nose, and throat disease for the public. We are located at Pasadora Place in town. Besides the general ENT services, we also provide specialized services for allergology, rhinology, laryngology, and audiology. And we picked this topic today, which is our new Center for Speech and Swallowing Disorders, because we think this should be known to the public.
Okay. So how long since you've been established?
I'm here for 10 years now, but I established this office in 2018.
2018. And is this the only ENT, the only clinic on island offering both speech therapy and audiology services?
Well, we've
That's a lovely voice of Miss Allison.
we have combined both speech therapy and audiology services at our clinic recently. Since I joined as a speech therapist, we're very glad to be offering these services because they go hand in hand together in many ways. So it's really a good combination to have, as well as working with the ENT doctors, because it's all related to the head, neck, and ears. So it's all anybody who comes in with those kind of issues can be seen under our clinic. So it's really great to be offering these kind of services.
I love the name of the clinic, ENT in Cayman. Where else?
That's right.
No. No, I've read that swallowing is a very complex process. I drink water and I think, well, it just goes right down, right? And we all think the same thing. No, it's a very complex process, and it involves the coordination of approximately 40 muscles and many nerves. Now, the process is often described as taking place in 3 stages. Who want to emphasize on those 3 phases? Allison?
Yes, I can. So the thing about swallowing is that, like you say, you eat your food and you swallow, and you learn that as from a child, and you don't think anything of it, really, because it's just a natural thing.
You
but
just worry about the taste of your food and, how lovely it is.
Yeah, but people who have difficulty swallowing, it's really a big thing for them because it's hard to get food down. So going back to your question about this different stages of swallowing, yes, there are 3 phases in the swallowing process. The first one is the oral phase, where you put the food in your mouth. You kind of you chew it, your tongue helps, and then your tongue pushes the food to the back of your mouth, and then it goes on into your throat, which is the pharyngeal phase, and then down into the esophageal phase, where the muscles actually in your pharynx, which is your throat, and your esophagus actually push down the food into your stomach. So there's all these muscles and coordination working together, which is just a natural occurrence for most people. But if you have had specific things that have caused you to have a swallowing difficulty, then those kind of things can be very challenging to be able to do. So it is a complex process, but for most people it seems natural.
Mm-hmm. This morning looking at my script, and I'm thinking, I've not even thought about swallowing. The only time I think about it is when I eat too much pepper and I start to cough. But,
That's right.
A lot of people, I guess, don't have that problem. They can eat anything hot and spicy and, they're good to go. What is a medical name for having difficulty swallowing?
Well, the medical name is dysphagia. It comes
Dysphagia.
from Greek and makes difficulties to eat, or difficult to eat, basically. But we try to be very simple in our terms. So we say it's a swallowing disorder, swallowing problem. Yes.
Have you seen many people in the Cayman Islands with this problem?
When you look in the broader spectrum, then you see about 1 out of 5 adults are experiencing swallowing issues, swallowing disorders. And here I have seen it mostly in institutional settings, such as elderly homes, when I visit elderly people for consultations. And those is where we see it most. But we also see it, of course, in the general population of our patients, and it can be in young children, can be in adults, young adults, but it's more in older people.
Folks.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you explain the various symptoms and causes?
The symptoms of swallowing disorders is basically depending on the stage where it happens. So if it's in the oral phase, those patients have difficulties to chew. If it's in the pharyngeal phase, they have difficulties to swallow, though they may build up some coughing during the swallowing process. They may even choke. If it's in the larynx area, they may have even a softer voice because they have vocal cord problems. If it's further down, they may aspirate even and have a stronger choking. So there are different symptoms based on the level of the disease or of the problem.
How is it diagnosed?
Alison.
So there's various ways to diagnose it. You used to be able to do it on an X-ray, but what we use at our clinic is something that's called a FEES. It stands for Flexible Endoscopic Evaluation of Swallowing. So basically what that is that the doctors will put a camera through the patient's nose, looking down onto the esophagus, and then we feed the patient different textures of food. We mix it with a little bit of dye so that we're able to see the food go down. And then with the doctor, the speech therapist will look at different textures, how they're able to eat the different textures, are they able to swallow them, so that we can see exactly what's going on with the swallow process and where exactly the breakdown is. So for example, like some people with a swallowing problem might find it easier to have something thicker, like a yogurt or a pudding, as opposed to water. Mm-hmm. We just do a general thing of what different things do people eat. So we will look at things like salads, we'll look at things like meat, so that we can do a broad spectrum of exactly what is going on with the swallowing process.
Including dry food, maybe, like
yes.
bread and...
So we do like a little cracker. Right. We do a sandwich. So anything that somebody would generally eat on a daily basis to see is there anything getting stuck, and what is it that's getting stuck, and then from there it's much easier to see kind of what we can do to help them.
Okay.
Let me just point out that swallowing disorder is a very broad problem, and it needs to be emphasized that it requires a multidisciplinary approach. So that means depending on where the problem occurs, it's a neurological problem or it's a gastroenterological problem, you have to involve other specialties. So we are communicating and referring patients to get the best outcome by also having them looked at them and to get a full evaluation of the underlying cause. So it's not just the ENT perspective, it's the broader interdisciplinary perspective of diagnostic approach here.
Now you have me thinking about all of this. Are there different types of dysphagia, doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Different types of dysphagia. When we talk about dysphagia, then we have the oral cavity dysphagia. That means you may have an inflammation in your throat. In younger people, tonsillitis, where they develop very large tonsil inflammation. They can't even swallow. They feel like they have a potato in their throat and they can't swallow it. Then you have you have further down the throat, we have the vocal cords. You can have, for instance, a vocal cord palsy after surgery or after a viral infection, which does not allow your vocal cords to close properly, and you can aspirate as a result. Okay. Further down in the esophageal phase, you can have a reflux disease, for instance, which is impacting the superficial structure of your food pipe, so to speak, and cause you issues here. And even down in the stomach, there is the border between the food pipe and the stomach, there is a little muscle. If this is not opening properly, you don't get the food through. So depending on this stages, you have different types of dysphagia.
So how, if it's left untreated, what happens?
Well, literally, you can starve, you can die from it. It's a potential death sentence because if you're not eating, you don't get your food and you don't get your drinks. If a dysphagia is left untreated, you have a high risk of developing a pneumonia, for instance. You have a high risk of developing dehydration and starving. And that's what I said initially, that it's more a problem of the older generations where they are left in institutional settings and struggle with these problems. 40% are struggling with it. So it can have quite devastating impact.
So are children also affected by this disease?
Yes, children can be. So sometimes we see it in babies. If they've had difficulties at birth, complications, then often they have difficulty swallowing. It's generally not that common in, normal developing children, but children that have got things like cerebral palsy or muscle weakness, it can definitely be a problem in children as they develop. So we, as Dr. Eki said, we work closely with the pediatricians. We always work in a multidisciplinary team to see, kind of what's going on, and we treat every patient as they come.
In children, there are some disease which can trigger dysphagia, which is also gastroesophageal reflux, for instance, cleft lip or palate clefts, which need to be repaired. Right. They have more the laryngeal phase dysphagia or vocal cord paralysis in children. In babies, it's more normal to have some sort of dysphagia at the beginning, but then it settles. But in children, it's not that common.
And this is all treated. It's all treated by therapy, right?
Yes.
And you do this at ENT and Cayman.
Well, we do not do all of this because I said it's a multi-functional or interdisciplinary approach. Right. But we try to train, and you always try to be very simple, and you try to be very conservative. So any surgical procedure is always the last resort. And for dysphagia, you have quite a number of opportunities. You have, as Alison may tell
so
us.
They can come to the speech therapist, and we do special exercises to engage the swallowing muscles and also to stimulate the nerves that trigger the swallowing reflex. In therapy, we can use different types of food with different textures, different temperatures, to look at their swallowing ability. Patients are also taught simple ways to put food in their mouth in different positions. Sometimes if they just turn their head a specific way, It's easier to swallow. So there's many different things that you can do that actually help them immensely.
It's maybe also just to add this that simple lifestyle changes can improve. So if you, let's say, for an example, have a reflux and you change your diet habits, you don't eat late, you don't eat that much spicy food, you try to balance this smaller portions, for instance, or you go to your family doctor, general practitioner, and you get an anti-reflux medication prescribed, take it, and you will see that things will settle. These are the things which help in most cases.
Now, what is the goal of the swallowing therapy and training? Is that to okay, Alison, you go.
Yeah, so the goal of swallowing training is basically to help the patient continue with their lifestyle. The most important thing is to see, they want to be able to eat, because food is an enjoyable thing for most people.
That's right.
Like it's a social thing. You go out, you have dinners, you have, especially on this island, like people love to go out and eat.
Yeah.
So we want to put the joy. Therapy is all about helping patients, but also want to be able to put the joy back into eating for people.
That's right.
So we do our best to work on these kinds of exercises, specific postures, movements that they can do to be able to enjoy food again.
Okay. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue discussion with ENT in Cayman. We have Dr. Eki and Ms. Alison Mulder. Alison is a speech therapist, speech language therapist, and audiologist. Thanks to our sponsors this morning, Cayman Insurance Center and Cayman Medical Supplies.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Since its early beginning, the Cayman Islands tourism product has targeted middle to upper class segments. In 1949, Benson Greenwald, a wealthy British visitor, began construction on the empty West Bay beach of the Galleon Beach Hotel with 12 rooms. Greenwald was instrumental in the passage of the Caymanian Hotel Aids Law of 1950, which provided exemptions from import duties and taxes for anyone building a hotel with more than 10 rooms. Along with the Galleon, the new law kick-started the development fury with Marin's Seaview Lodge and Pageant Beach Hotel. By 1960, there were 9 hotels, clubs, and guest houses in the Cayman Islands.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Still delivering island-wide for your convenience.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. Good morning if you're just joining us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Those of you viewing us via YouTube, thank you as well. In the studio, we have Dr. Eki and Ms. Alison Mulder, speech therapist, speech language therapist and audiologist, and they're both of ENT in Cayman. Good morning again.
Good morning, Anita.
Now, talking about dysphagia. When persons are suffering from dysphagia, are there certain situations where surgery may be needed? And Dr. Eki is going to take that.
Yes. Surgery, as I said, is always the last resort before.
Right.
We try to treat this conservatively before. There are a few cases for surgical approaches, such as if you have a child with a cleft, you have to repair the cleft to enable the child to swallow properly. If you have an infection in your throat, like tonsillitis, you may have to remove the tonsils. If this is more further down in the vocal box, you have an insufficient closure of your vocal folds, of your then you may need to do surgery there. If it is, what God forbids, more a cancerous condition like cancer of the esophagus, then of course you may have to go there, or you have to release a muscle spasm further down. So there are options, but they are very, very selective.
Okay. Now, Alison, you are the speech language therapist and audiologist. How do you fit into the scheme of things at ENT in Cayman?
So my main focus at ENT in Cayman is to assist the doctors with patients who've obviously had swallowing problems, like we've just chatted about, but also patients with voice problems. Okay. Voice problems is also something that people might not know that they have, or it's also something that a lot of people aren't aware that we deal with at ENT in Cayman. As a speech therapist, it's important to help people who come in with things like hoarseness, breathiness of their voice, and then at ENT in Cayman, the doctors will kind of see if there's any difficulties in the area of their vocal cords, and then they will send them on to me as the speech therapist, who will then also work through, exercises with them. Specific things to do to help them with their voice. Yeah.
Okay, sometimes you have their normal voice, and then as you get older, you'll notice that you have a hoarseness in your voice, and some people, you don't think about it. You think, well, okay, your voice is sounding sexier, as you get older. But is that something that we should be aware of? The way your voice breaks up, at some point.
Yeah, well, I think it's always important to be aware of yourself, and if you notice any changes in your body and you are concerned about it, it's always good to get it checked up. There is, people as they get older, their voice might change, their voice quality might change. And it could be due to a variety of different reasons. So if it's something that they're concerned about, it's always good to, come and see if there's anything that can be helped. Voice therapy, from a speech therapy point of view, helps people with voice disorders change vocal behavior. So we help people who have, often people will come in to ENT and Cayman who have, or in the past when I lived in South Africa, who have jobs where they talk all the time, like teachers or these motivational speakers
or radio.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Will have to project their voices all the time, and sometimes it can cause discomfort to the vocal cords because they almost getting overused. Just like swallowing, voice is also a complex process where you have the vocal cords, which are situated in your larynx. Air moves through your lungs and into your trachea and into your voice box, and that's how you actually talk. So people who we just grow up talking normally, we don't think anything of it, but people who have jobs where they talk a lot often come with things like hoarseness, things like their voice is softer because they actually got trauma to their vocal cords. So we can help with things like that, exercises. Sometimes people also can carry if they carry stress, they can carry a lot of stress in their throat, actually. Those muscles tense up, and it actually also can cause hoarseness. So, people might just think, oh, well, I'm kind of hoarse. But, there's often a cause, and there's often something that can be done. And we just want to make people aware at ENT and Cayman that, we can help them.
Okay. And having said that, how long does the voice therapy training run for, on an average, and does it depend on the origin and the severity of what might be needed to correct all of this? How does that work?
Yeah, so everybody's different, and it always depends on the patient. And like you say, the origin and severity of the issue. So if there's something, that can be surgically done for the vocal cords, the doctors can look at that, and then we can help rehabilitate the vocal cords after that. Voice therapy is also a very emotional type of therapy, because voice problems can affect people emotionally. It can affect their ability to communicate every day. So it's generally very patient-driven. I don't like to say, well, you're going to be in therapy for 6 weeks and then you'll be fine, because everybody's different, and I will work with the patient. They'll come in, we'll do, a whole case history and see look at everyone as a whole, and then start therapy from there.
I think it's important.
Dr. Eki had his hand up.
Yes. No, she's just in the flow. That's good. I like it. I think it's important to add that if it's an aging voice, it's not something which is finished at a certain point. This is something you learn. It's like going to the gym for your muscles. The vocal cords are muscles too. You have to exercise, and you have to learn your lessons with the speech therapist, and then you try and you repeat at home. So you get your toolbox with you, and you basically try to strengthen your voice over a longer period of time. Yeah, so you have an initial therapy start, but it is prolonging. It helps you to cope with the situations in your life. I think this is just what I wanted to add here.
Do you work with stroke patients who, after having a major stroke, maybe lost their speech has become impaired? How does that? Do you take care of that as well?
Yes, definitely. So stroke patients are definitely patients that we see a lot at ENT and Cayman, and previously, if you have a stroke and the language part of your brain gets affected, it can cause different things to happen. So some people will kind of wake up and they won't be able to talk at all. Other times they'll have something that's called a word finding problem, where they want to say something, but it's just not coming out the right way. So depending on which part of the language brain, which part of the brain, and if the language part of your brain has been affected, But also with patients with strokes, even if the stroke is on the other side and the language part is fine, it can often cause muscle weakness, it can cause swallowing problems, it can cause voice problems because it's all related. So yes, it's important to let people know that we do see adults, and there is help for patients that have had strokes and that feel that they can't communicate like they used to be able to before the stroke.
Okay, we're smack out of time. What do you know? It's time for the news, but tell you what, can I have your contact details?
Yeah, we are located at Pasadora Place, Unit 4. It's opposite the Cayman Islands Hospital. If you want to make an appointment, best to call Amber, our wonderful staff, at 745-3253, 745-3253.
And you have a website?
Yes, we have a website, entncayman.com.
Okay, Facebook page?
Yes.
Okay.
ENT and Cayman as well.
I want Dr. Eke and Alison, I want to say thank you so much. This has been so interesting. I forgot to check the time, and we're definitely going to have you back because I want to learn more about ENT in Cayman. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having us.
You are very welcome. Susan's got a time check and the news. We'll be back after the traffic report with our second segment this morning on the Business Buzz.
Thank you, Anita. And studio time now by Foster's is a minute after 8.
This Earth Month, Foster's is sprouting knowledge to help you eat healthily and live sustainably.
Just head to fosters.ky/earth-month to learn about nutrition, the growing process, and curbing your wastage on 5 common fresh products.
Did you know that you can use watermelon rinds in a curry or a smoothie?
Learn more tips and recipes like this on our social channels at Foster's Cayman on Facebook and Instagram.
Go to fosters.ky/earth-month
to sprout knowledge this Earth Month with Foster's.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. An additional 15 migrants land in Cayman Brac Sunday night after 9 landed on Friday and 5 on Saturday. The Cayman Islands Customs and Border Control Service has confirmed that the latest boatful landed around 9:15 p.m. CBC is, quote, closely monitoring the increase in migrants arriving on Cayman shores. A multi-agency meeting was held Monday morning to discuss strategies to effectively manage the situation. All migrants are being temporarily held in quarantine in Cayman Brac in accordance with COVID-19 protocols and arrangements. They will then be transported to Grand Cayman. This brings the total number of migrants who have landed and are being housed in Cayman since March 11th to more than 50. The man rescued while floating amongst several packages in the North Sound on Friday has been charged with illegal landing and importation of ganja. The Coast Guard has been searching the Sound since Friday afternoon, resuming search and recovery operations this morning in the hopes of finding his 3 companions from their capsized boat. A delegation of tourism officials are overseas engaging with representatives of the cruise sector. Radio Cayman's Dion Anglin reports.
The Honorable Kenneth Bryan, Minister for Tourism, and a delegation are attending the annual Seatrade Cruise Global Conference in Florida, which began on Monday and wraps up on Thursday. The delegation includes Chief Officer Strand Bodden and Director of Tourism Mrs. Rosa Harris, along with staff from the Department of Tourism, who will be managing the Cayman Islands exhibition booth throughout the duration of the event. Minister Bryan says the Seatrade Conference is the largest annual cruise industry gathering and will allow the Cayman Islands delegation to engage with cruise line representatives and key stakeholders in the cruise community. The minister adds, with our cruise sector having recently moved to Phase 2, he says that this is a timely opportunity for the ministry to network and gain insights from our industry partners. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Dion Anglin.
Among the conference highlights, a keynote address with 3 of the largest cruise lines in the world discussing the resiliency of the industry. It's a move for the Commission Secretariat. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
The Commission Secretariat is moving to a new, larger office space to accommodate a growing staff complement and to facilitate its continued service to the 6 commissions it supports: the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Civil Service Appeals Commission, the Commission for Standards in Public Life, the Constitutional Commission, Human Rights Commission, and Judicial and Legal Services Commission. As of Tuesday, May 3rd, the Secretariat will move to the 4th floor of the Georgetown Financial Center at 94th Street. The Commission's Secretariat was established in 2010 under the Office of the Deputy Governor in support of the independent entities established by the 2009 Constitution, referred to as Institutions Supporting Democracy. The Secretariat plans to leverage its new office space to provide internal operational efficiencies, with further room for growth. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. Defence ministers from NATO and European Union countries are in Germany to discuss further military assistance for Ukraine. In a major policy shift, Germany is expected to authorise the sale of tanks to Kyiv. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has told the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov that everything possible must be done to end the war in Ukraine. Mr. Guterres said he wanted to help create the conditions for dialogue, a ceasefire and ultimately peace. Officials in Beijing say they're confident they've brought the current COVID outbreak under control, despite extending testing to include most of the capital's 21 million residents. Food suppliers are increasing their stocks of basic necessities by up to 5 times. The European Union has urged the Sudanese authorities and rebel movements to protect civilians after an outbreak of violence in the Darfur region left more than 160 people dead. The EU Foreign Policy Chief, Josep Borrell, called for plans to set up a joint military force with rebels who signed a peace deal. The Egyptian government has reversed its decision to ban nighttime prayers and retreats in mosques following a public outcry. The Minister of Religious Affairs had said the ban was designed to avoid spreading coronavirus. But Muslims in Egypt demanded equality with Christians, who've been gathering in large numbers to celebrate Easter this week. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
It's in our name. Fried chicken, it's our thing. Others may try, but we have the original. We put the extra and extra crispy. And our secret in everyone's mouth. So if we want to make the best chicken sandwich, we just need to put our name on it. New Kentucky Chicken Sandwich. An abundant triple-breaded filet, premium mayo and pickles, all in a buttered brioche bun. The best chicken sandwich had to be KFC.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Head east on Cove Road. Sharp left on Church Street. Sharper left. No, your other left. Did I say left? Nope, you missed it. Okay, I'm lost.
With money-saving bundling options for home and motor, we're like a GPS that doesn't steer you wrong. CG Brit-K. Good like that.
Let's stop and ask for directions.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 80 degrees. Relative humidity is 80%. The barometric pressure is 30.04 inches and rising. The wind is out of the east at 10 knots. Overnight low temperature was 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate a decrease in cloudiness and showers are expected across the Cayman area as an upper level trough weakens and drifts east over the northern Caribbean. Satellite images show scattered low clouds over the Cayman area moving towards the west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will rise to the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be east at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Low tide will be this afternoon at 1:28, high tide this evening at 7:37. Sun will set this evening at 6:45 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6. And the outlook is calling for moderate easterly winds and seas to prevail across the Cayman area through Thursday morning. That's the very latest on your weather report.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Brit-K, where people come first.
Good morning, everyone. Hello? Hello? Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Okay, I see we have just about everyone, and of course Tom drops off, as per usual. Let's just wait a minute here. He always comes right back, and we're almost ready, and... oh, whoever's dog that is, please go on mute. Why won't it let me share my screen? Okay, looks like we're ready to start.
We're like a video conference with no technical issues. CG Brit-K. Good like that.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening on the roads. Traffic is steady coming off of the Esteli Tibbetts Highway. Some slight delays expected. And traffic busy as well on Crew Road heading to Georgetown, and eastbound traffic on Crew Road is light to moderate. Traffic moving moderately on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, steady traffic. As we look to downtown Georgetown, Edward Street, moderate flow of traffic as well as on Shedden Road. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions, and traffic flowing at a good pace coming from the West Bay four-way stop. That's the very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
Subway makes it easy for you to stay on top of your health and wellness goals with our Fresh Fit menu options. Choose from 5 Fresh Fit Subway sandwiches with only 450 calories or less per 6-inch sub. Turkey breast, veggie, oven-roasted chicken, Black Forest ham, sweet onion chicken teriyaki, or make your 6-inch Fresh Fit sub into a salad or wrap prepared with fresh vegetables. For a full menu and nutritional information, visit subway.ky. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
Good morning and welcome back to the Business Buzz. It's a beautiful Tuesday in the Cayman Islands. I've not had coffee yet, so let's hope our guest brought coffee with him this morning. Good morning and welcome back to the Business Buzz. As usual on the Business Buzz, we keep you in the know about various business topics and information. We just heard from Dr. Eki and Alison Mulder of ENT in Cayman Limited. And now we'll have a chat with Mr. Dervin McCullough of Drift Enterprise Limited. And we will learn more about the company and their Drift IT training. Welcome, Dervin. You're no stranger to the business buzz.
That's correct. Thank you very much.
I think we'll have to start charging you rent.
I think I probably need to have an office, a designated office here.
That too, with your name on it. Well, it's good to have you back in the studio. The last time you came in, we spoke about drones.
Most definitely.
I learned so much about drone. I almost wanted to go out and get one. So this morning we're going to be putting the focus on Drift IT training.
Yes, sure.
Now, jumping, I always say time is money. So let's just jump right into this. Give us, Dervin, some insight into the journey to establish the training company and the reasons behind Drift IT training.
All right, the journey in establishing Drift IT training started years ago. Particularly, I worked in IT training for some years in the United States, working for an IT company that actually does the development of training software as well as training material out in Utah. So from there, I actually worked along with universities, colleges, high schools, and TVET institutions to implement skills-based training focusing around information technology and digital literacy. Now, the focus behind starting Drift in the Cayman Islands is from our perspective as a company, when I moved there, we realized that there were a lacking of skill sets, especially in the IT, in information technology. And we wanted to fill that skills gap. And so we've done our research. We've gone through the process of, ensuring that we're doing the right things in terms of from a training perspective, as well as following the requirements set out by the Ministry of Education of the Cayman Islands. And so we did our groundwork, as well as in the establishment of the company, we did partner with some international partners, which we'll talk about that later, to bring not just the latest, but also the best technology for IT training and learning in the Cayman Islands and the Caribbean.
And how is it going so far?
It's going good. I'd say very well. Sorry, we're going very well. And the reason I say it's going very well, because we not only deliver training in the Cayman Islands, but we also deliver training in the United States, where I'm actually teaching cybersecurity to law enforcement personnel in Virginia. So,
you're busy.
Very busy. So bringing Drift IT training to Cayman, being not just a training organization, but an approved training organization to deliver IT training in the Cayman Islands is a big thing for us, and we are actually looking to deliver that state of the art service to the Cayman Islands and the Cayman Islands, the people of the Cayman Islands.
I love it. So I'm looking at all about Drift IT training, and it says it's an approved technical and vocational education and training, or TVET, institution, and it's registered with the Education Council of the Cayman Islands government. And you're also a Cayman-based workforce training and certification organization which specializes in information technology certification. And you are also a Computing Technology Industry Association, which is CompTIA. CompTIA for short. Unauthorized training partners. This is amazing. I love this. Now, give us some more insight, Dervin, about the aim of the company. That was just touching the bottom of the barrel. There's so much more to tell me.
There is a lot to tell about Drift. Some of the insight behind Drift is pretty much I'm from an information technology background, and sorry.
That's all right. A sip of water will help.
That's great. All right, and from that perspective, What's happening this morning? I understand the need for not just personnel who can do the work, but we from a company perspective understand the need for skilled and trained personnel. And when we look at the global information technology industry, we realize that there is a shortage for skilled IT professionals. So even in our own small research in the Cayman Islands, we realize that from a skills perspective, you find that there is a lacking of skills. So you find that persons like myself, who is from another jurisdiction, is here working in the information technology industry because the skill sets, as well as not just the skill set, but the required training and certification is not there. So we realize that there's a need for that, and we want to ensure that not just we continue to develop the personnel who are actually working in the industry, but we're looking to also give Caymanians that opportunity to be skilled, to be employed in these high demanding jobs that also in the end pays well. So from that perspective, we've done our primary research. We have looked at what is lacking in Cayman from an IT training perspective, and we seek to capitalize on that to deliver not just the training, but also the hands-on experience for those persons who are lacking that expertise as well.
Javon, why do you think there's a shortage?
There's a shortage. There is a shortage in
IT professionals.
In IT professionals. Because when you look at a lot of the opportunities here, you find that highly skilled opportunities are occupied by foreigners or expats. We may say so. And one of the things about it, just to be clear, we have no issues with it, but we also want to provide Caymanians with an opportunity to also to be employed in these job roles, and as well as looking at what the government stipulates, providing opportunities for Caymanians. So we want to be that workforce training that focuses on IT training to also enable Caymanians to be employed in these opportunities as well.
Oh, well, we're glad you're here to tell the public about what you offer. And what are the main program offerings you have over at Drift IT Training?
All right, so we offer several programs over at Drift IT Training. We offer training in CompTIA certifications, as well as many other training and certification, which I'll touch on. So companies training that we offer training from Microsoft, VMware, Amazon Web Services, Cisco, Oracle, Google, Adobe, and many others. But in terms of, let me get a little bit more in depth into some of the service offerings, right? Mm-hmm. So from a training perspective, we offer on-demand training, right? We also offer skills-based training. Now, some of the other extension services to our training offerings is that we offer technical assessments. And let me just break down what technical assessment is, for the listening.
And go back to on demand.
Sure, no problem. So let me break down what technical assessment is for the listening public. So what happens is that when a job is posted online or in the paper it's published, there are certain skill sets that an employer is looking for, which they are called technical skills, right? A lot of times you'll find that a person will say, okay, I possess these particular skill sets. However, when you onboard them in your company, you realize that they have certain skill set, but they're lacking some of the skill sets. So what we do, the service that we provide from a technical assessment perspective, is that before these individuals are onboarded, we go through what is called a technical testing procedure. What this technical testing procedure is, it's most companies does what is called a knowledge-based test, where they answer multiple choice questions, and they may respond to a particular scenario. Our technical testing is what is called 100% skills-based and performance-based. So what this means is that we deliver real-world scenarios where these persons will have to actually do configuration on servers, switches, cloud infrastructure, doing network security stuff. So this pretty much gives the employer an idea and into the personnel skill set. So it's now, okay, I have both.
Okay.
I have...
Okay, 1 second before I lose my train of thought.
Sure.
So do you do this before that person is hired?
Yes, we actually offer that service before and after. So we
before and after, okay.
So there is the technical testing for the professionals who are already in working in the organization, and we also offer technical recruitment testing, which is where these persons are going to be, when the individuals are shortlisted, then they go through the same testing procedures, and then pretty much the one with the better performance score, the organization can actually choose if they go with this person because of the statistics and the skills that the person would come out with.
You see, I never knew this. Never knew this would happen. Now, let's go back to on-demand.
All right.
Talk to me about that.
So, with on-demand training, right, you find that a lot of persons have very busy lives, right? They're working, they're balancing family, other activities. So, one of the things that we have brought to Cayman, which is not new.
Okay, so we have various training offerings.
So yes. So one of the things that we have brought home is that on-demand training is not new. However, what we have done is pretty much created a platform where persons can go on to take training at their own pace. And they have set their own timelines. But one of the things that we've done is that we have reporting statistics on the platform that will say, okay, you have only spent, say, 30 minutes watching this particular video, or you spend only 15 minutes doing labs. So what that does for on-demand training is that personnel now who have their busy lifestyle can choose to say, okay, I'm going to set my target for the next 6 months to complete, say, for instance, a IT security training course, or I'm going to take basic digital literacy, and the targets are set, and we track their progress over that time period.
Very good. It's like watching demand TV.
Actually,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, this is a lot. This is a lot. Now, how before we take the break, you know what, Susan? Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue our discussion with Mr. Dervin McCullough of Drift Enterprise Limited, and we're talking Drift IT training today. When we come back from the break, we'll look at how training will be delivered and whether or not you have a physical location, Dervin.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
And for 45 years, we have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic, your life connected.
This is how we wake you up in the morning. Time on Radio Cayman. Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Attention parents and guardians. Any child who is 5 years old by 31st August must be enrolled in an approved educational program, including government, private, or homeschooling program. Registration for the 2022-23 academic year begins on 1st April. Applications received before 1st April will not be considered. Detailed students' registration guidelines and forms are available on the Department of Education Services website at www.schools.edu.ky or by emailing edu.registration@gov.ky.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
It's 8:30. Good morning. We're speaking with Mr. Dervin McCullough of Drift Enterprise Limited, and we're looking specifically at Drift IT training. Before that break, Dervin, we said we'll look at how training is delivered and whether or not you have a physical location.
All right, sure. So currently, we deliver training in several formats. The first that's currently available is online and self-paced. And the second that is also available is instructor-led, in-person or virtual. That's currently available. Okay. And the reasoning for this is that we are moving to making learning hybrid. So no longer does students need to come to the classroom. We bring the classroom to them. And so hence why we are doing a virtual instructor-led training, but also for future expansions, we also offer online/self-paced with coaching and mentoring, as well as blended learning in person and online. To just expound a little bit more on the delivery offerings is that we've realized that COVID has transformed how we operate, and so as a training company, we know that training is global. So a lot of some of our delivery partners are all in the United States or in the UK or in other jurisdictions, right? So we wanted to ensure that we're not just limiting ourselves just to say, okay, we're working in the Cayman Islands time zone, because we also deliver training in other jurisdictions where the time zone is different. So we wanted to ensure that, okay, on demand is there for self-paced for those persons who are self-motivated to go to through the training. However, they may need a mentor or a coach to guide them, right? And from the perspective for the instructor-led, there are persons who are going to be new in the industry, who is going to need a subject matter expert to teach the content as well as to deliver the lab instruction, and that's for that. But also in terms of for other training aspects, we do deliver group training to organizations as well as one-on-one individual training. Those are offerings that will come on board in the future. However, from a overall training perspective, we were of the aim and the goal to offer training to everyone wherever they are. So our content on our platform is 100% online, not just our content, but we also have state-of-the-art laboratory infrastructure that gives the learner the opportunity to play with different technologies that they would not normally be interacting with on a day-to-day basis. And even if they were, in terms of a lab infrastructure, for any organization to build out a lab infrastructure is very expensive. Now, when you get access to our training platform, they're given access to lab infrastructure that's worth over $200,000. That's in comparison of hardware and software programs that they're able to interact with in a simulated environment. But we also have what is called live labs. We'll talk about a little bit more about the live labs when we go into in depth more about some exciting things surrounding cybersecurity that we are looking forward to deliver. But I'll just segue into some of the training offerings that we we offer Microsoft Office training for persons who want to learn how to use Office products such as Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. We also offer IT network training, IT security. For those who are excited about cybersecurity, we offer ethical hackers certification and training surrounding. We have a program called the Cyber Patriot that focuses on cybersecurity training and development. We also offer Microsoft Client desktop administration training, as well as Windows Server, and the list goes on. I could spend all morning talking about the different levels of training.
I could spend all morning listening to all of this, especially when you talk about ethical hacking training, cyber training. How does that work, Darvin?
So, ethical hacking. Let's focus the chain of thought around ethical hacking.
That's what caught my attention.
Yes. So ethical hacking is hacking is the means of one, exploiting or taking advantage of digital resources. Now, there are laws surrounding hacking as well as unauthorized access to computer resources. So say, for instance, in the Cayman Islands, we're teaching ethical hacking, and we may say, okay, we want to exploit, say, for instance, XYZ company's website. Now, the rules of engagement surrounding making any attempts to either break into an organization, those have to be agreed on, right? So if I'm an instructor who is making exploit on XYZ company and they find out in the Cayman Islands, I can be fined or imprisoned for doing that. So what we have done in our training and development programs is that we created all the necessary virtual infrastructures that are available that persons can go in and make the exploits within that control environment, so they're not affecting any business network, or we're not giving them the opportunity to also go and take down XYZ company's website. Everything is in a controlled environment, and so this is where they're able to refine their hacking skills as well as refine their skill sets to be able to go now in an organization to protect that organization from outside threat actors.
I've got you. Because that was going to bring me to the next question. Like, for instance, what resources does Drift IT Training have available for anyone who wants to practice their cybersecurity skills?
Okay, great. So we've partnered with several companies, to bring the technology home to Cayman. So we have a large lab infrastructure with live systems that persons can subscribe to practice their cybersecurity skills, as well as practice other cloud technology such as AWS, Amazon Web Services, Azure, Windows Server. So we have a large, I would say, catalog of lab infrastructure that if the persons just want only lab, they can purchase labs and go in and practice, because that's how you're going to develop the skill sets, right? Because just us teaching theory is not good enough from a training perspective. Exactly. We want to give persons what is called 100% skills-based training as well as experience-based learning, because a lot of persons learn by doing.
Now, Jervin, high school students, take for instance, if I want to start with me first. I'm no good at IT. I'm helpless.
Sure.
Okay. So if I wanted to go into any type of IT training, would I be a good candidate for that?
Yes, you would be a good candidate. We have programs that start from basic entry level. Mm-hmm. So we have a digital literacy program, right? That pretty much walks you through the basics of using a computer, using a web browser, and all the things that...
It might mean far back. That basic. A little bit more upscale.
A little bit more upscale. Yeah. We have training for career changes. So in my class in the United States, I have persons who have been in the medical field for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. I've been teaching persons who have been in law enforcement for 20 years. And now they're actually looking to change into into the information technology industry. So we have career changes, and we have courses that actually prepare those career changes for opportunities within the IT industry. Now, as I touch on that, there's one thing I also want to bring across to my the listening public, and to sensitize a lot of persons. In years gone by, you will find that a lot of companies were focused more on academic training. But for the IT industry in specific, a lot of companies are focused more on certifications, as well as the ability for the personnel to be able to do the job. Now, from a hiring perspective, a company wants to know that whenever I'm hiring an ethical hacker, or they're hiring an IT technician, when he gets into the organization, he can hit the ground running, or she can hit the ground running. And that's one of the things that we are focusing on as a training company, is that we're giving the persons this skill set to be able to hit the ground running. Just a segue, we have a part of our training program is that we have what is called a program called Skills Guaranteed. What Skills Guaranteed is that we guarantee an employer that whenever anyone leaves any of our training program with a certification, if that person is hired and within 3 months they're not able to do what they're certified for, we're not only replacing them, right? But we stand to guarantee that organization to refund that organization up to $1,000 because of what we certify the persons for. They're not able to do.
Now, would you take that person back under your wing and give them further training, or take them back to what they've missed and see how they can come up to scratch? Well,
one of the good things about our training program is that we have on-demand testing, right? So what we focus on is ensuring that once you are ready for that particular certification exam, we're going to ensure that you're hitting the highest percentile in terms of passing score. So a lot of persons who are focused on IT training or training tends to focus on just the theory. Now, we're not only focused on theory, we're also focusing on the practical hands-on aspects of it. Sorry. So with that says, we are ensuring that we're delivering high quality training, as well as we're putting persons out there with the skills that employers are looking for.
So I'm sure you'll never have to worry about Skills Guaranteed.
Never.
Because we know
that we're
once you have Drift IT training, it's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win situation. Okay. And it's a win-win situation for everyone in the aspects that, we are delivering, and we're not only delivering, but we're also ensuring that we're building the future of the information technology workforce in the Cayman Islands.
You have so many, especially males coming out of school, high school especially, they're so interested in IT, get a career in IT.
Yeah.
Do you work with the high schools here?
Sure. So we did a mentoring program in 2020 to 2021 with John Gray, with actually two boys from the John Gray High School, and we actually brought them through our A+ or our PC Pro course, where I was mentoring them, and it was all delivered online. And these two boys actually came out. Congratulations to them. They came out very successful. At the end of the course, they passed their certification, and they were PC Pro certified. And so we are actually looking to continue to work with the schools as well as the Ministry of Education to deliver not just those particular programs, but to deliver also other TVET programs that can be integrated into the high school curriculum and build the future of cyber workforce, as well as a highly skilled in demand information technology workforce through the different initiatives that we have to come on board, as well as to work on developing new programs to implement and to foster persons wanting to get involved in information technology.
Where are those two boys now?
I'm not sure where they are, but I know for sure that in later this year, they will be presented with their certification at their graduation.
Are you seeing more females enroll in your different programs?
Well, in the U.S., there are a lot of females who we're teaching, and so we've seen that females are actually having an uptick interest in especially information technology. But the exciting thing is that a lot of persons are more interested in cybersecurity. But one of the things that I want to bring across to the listening public is that for you to be able to do and understand cybersecurity, you also need to understand, how networks operate. And so, for instance, it's building on the foundations to get to what we call the top of the food chain, where you are, that cybersecurity expert. Yeah.
You know what? And that's the part that I'm interested in. If I had to do anything in technology or IT, it would be cybersecurity. And you know what? I'll never get to the top of that food chain.
Well, actually, you can get to the top of the food chain. One of the things I've always, shared with persons who've asked me, questions. A lot of times, my students, both in the U.S., also, I've gone to a lot of workshops in Jamaica, speaking at the community colleges, and, persons have asked me, how have you gotten to where you are? And I've shared that I've started at the bottom of the food chain and I work myself all the way up to the top. Not necessarily to the extreme top right now, but I'm at a place where I'm comfortable not just being an information technology expert, but I'm also being the fact that I'm also a technical instructor, I'm able to now not just do the work, but I'm also able to teach what I'm doing, which is a very good way to pretty much culminate the activities of being a technical expert as well as being a technical instructor. It makes it easier to deliver training content as well as share the industry experience with the learners. Yeah.
Dervin, we're speaking with Mr. Dervin McCullough of Drift Enterprise Limited, and we're speaking Drift IT training on that. Now we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion to take us up to 9 o'clock. Thanks to our sponsors this morning, Cayman Insurance Center and Cayman Medical Supplies. There's also Brack Medical Supplies in Cayman Brack. Oh gosh.
Don't the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down?
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies, hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies, free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
Open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Still delivering island-wide for your convenience.
Country classics.
Well, I was born to coal miner's daughter.
On the road again. They're gonna put me in the movies.
Papa Top again.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso. Because you're mine, I walk the line. Well, I love
country classics.
Young love, first love.
You never count your money when you're sitting at the table.
If you enjoy classic country music, come hang out with Radio Cayman this Saturday, 3:30 to 6 p.m.
In the Mississippi cotton picking Delta town.
This Saturday afternoon, following American Country Countdown, 3:30 to 6 on Radio Cayman.
Just walk on by.
Wait on the corner. Country classics.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman,
the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Business Buzz. Business Buzz with your host, Anita Khan.
11 minutes until news time. Gives me 11 minutes more with Mr. McDervin McCullough of Drift Enterprise Limited. And we're speaking Drift IT training. Dervin, how do you track your student progress, and how are you able to assess those skills that those students have learned?
All right, very good question. So we have a robust tracking tracking and reporting platform integrated into the learner management system that we use for training. And so we're able to track the students' progress by time spent on a resource, by tracking time spent using a particular product, as well as their individual scores that they've gone through the training. So what we guarantee individuals as well as organization who actually uses our training platform is that we are able to provide weekly reporting on the progress of their employees or the learners who are using our training platform. Okay. And so these actually quantify the spend for the training, as well as help the organization to understand how their employees and trainings are actually progressing through training.
Very good. Now, which topic do you teach best?
Well, I teach a lot of topics best, but I enjoy teaching security, cybersecurity. The reason behind that is that it excites my students. I like to see the look on my students' face when they've seen an exploit that is taken out or carried out, and they're like, "Sir, how did you do that?" Well, I said, "You'll have to learn, and this is why you're here."
And I guess they just can't give up at that point, right?
They just can't give up. and that's one of the good things about the training delivery is that we not just teach them and say, okay, this is how you lift a cup. Mm-hmm. We actually give them the resources to lift a cup. And that's the good thing about our training delivery is that we're ensuring that they have not just the information, but they also have the tools to do the work.
So I can easily say cybersecurity is one of the offerings that you're most excited about.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
And the reason behind most excited about cybersecurity is that with digital transformation, with a lot of companies going into the cloud, as well as even for their on-prem infrastructure, is that with also remote work comes a lot of security risk. And organizations need not just personnel, but trained personnel who understand the security arena and have the aptitude as well as the skill sets to protect their organization from cyber exploits.
And nowadays that is so important. I'm learning on this program about ransomware and all the good stuff. So yes. I'm learning. Now, how can you assist? You mentioned briefly at the start of the program how you can assist an organization to identify its IT training, but where would you start?
All right. So normally when we are helping an organization to identify the training needs for their employees, we normally speak with the HR, as well as what we tend to do is to use questionnaires, as well as we do what is called a skills gap assessment. So working with the HR of the say for instance XYZ company, what we do is that we go in and we understand what the job roles are, and from the job roles the organization normally have certain skill sets that they are actually looking for. Now what we do is that we go in and we do the skills gap assessment by using the questionnaires or using our training platform to actually create customized testing to give all the employees. And from that, we'll pretty much pull the results from that. We present the reporting to say, okay, from the metrics, we can see that, okay, this group or the group is falling down on, say, for instance, network security. Everyone is getting network security concepts incorrectly, or in even much more layman terms, we could say, okay, for the persons who are using the productivity tools, they're not so versed on Excel or formatting Word documents.
I often wonder how the HR department does that, especially with something so specific as IT. They don't normally sit around and say, well, I need an IT manager, but this is what he must have, because they don't know. So I often wonder how they figure that out.
All right. So what happens is that every, or let's say most job title or job role has requirements, specifications, and so from those specifications, they'll pretty much outline what are the responsibilities, as well as not only the responsibilities but also the technical capabilities of those personnel. And so from that perspective, we're able to provide the technology as well as the infrastructure to assess not just the entry level, but also the persons who are working in intermediate higher positions, actually, their skill set. Because I'm of the view that if you're leading a team, you must also be a strong leader, not just only a strong leader by words, but also by actions.
I absolutely agree with that, Durban. Now, what sort of upcoming programs and initiatives Drift IT Training is looking at for the rest of 2022 and, of course, onward?
All right, so we're excited about a few initiatives that we have on board, and we have an initiative that is called PACE IT. And you may ask, what is PACE?
I was going to.
So PACE stands for Progressive Accelerated Certification for Employment in Information Technology.
Is that basically like a crash course?
No, it's actually not a crash course. So pretty much what happens is that PACE IT is a robust program that you're gonna that persons who are enrolled in PACE is gonna be going through rigorous training to be not just a certified IT professional, but one of the best certified IT professionals that person will come across in terms of the training that we're putting them through, as well as the program development. It's not only focusing on just information technology training, but there's also going to be looking at, professional skills development, communication skills, and several other skills. And then the other program that we're excited about is what is called, we're working on something that's called the National High School Virtual Lab Challenge. And this is where students in high school will be able to compete to actually show not just their cyber skill, but also their information technology skills. And this program is actually in its infancy testing phase, and we're excited when we roll this program out, we are hoping that the high schools in the Cayman Islands would be happy to have such a program to help.
Would this be part of the curriculum?
Well, it's going to be like an extracurricular activity.
Extracurricular.
Yeah.
Okay, it sounds fun. It sounds like fun. Now, Durban, before we let you go, we only got a couple of minutes left. Just summarize any key points about Drift IT Training that you want to leave with our listeners and our viewers this morning.
Sure. So key points that we want to leave with the listening viewers and with the viewers and the listeners is that at Drift IT Training, we can train, reskill, and upskill your staff for organization. We can assist with the recruitment of skilled IT professionals by providing technical testing services. We offer a fully integratable LMS solution with our programs that can be integrated not just in colleges and universities, but also integrated in high schools for those who are looking to implement TVET programs, as well as specifically IT training. And with our programs, students are taught not just theory, but also the practical application in live labs as well as simulated labs. And the good thing about one thing about it, or overall delivery is that the training is available locally, so no need to no longer go overseas. That's pretty much a cost reduction in terms of hotel fees and all of that stuff. So Drift IT training is here not just to deliver training, but also to upskill the workforce.
And the best part, you can get it on demand.
On demand.
I like that.
Yeah.
On that note, Dervin, give us some contact details, please.
Contact details for those who can reach us at 547-7331. That's our direct office number. Or for inquiries about training, you can reach us at training@drift, DRIFTENTS.com. Or you can also reach our general service mailbox at services@driftent.com. You can also
and your Facebook?
You can also find us on Facebook at Drift Enterprise IT Training Caribbean, as well as we are on Instagram at Drift ENTS_training. And
you have your website, right?
And we have our website, sure.
Dervin, thank you so much. You took me from drones the last time, now straight into IT training.
Yes.
By the time I'm finished with the business buzz, I'm
an IT
instructor.
You're gonna be an expert.
Susan myself.
But as you speak about drone, we have some exciting things coming up regarding the drones.
Because you're also a drone pilot.
And I'm also a drone pilot. So exciting things coming up on drones, and we just ask you guys to keep an ear and eyes out for the exciting things about Drift UAV.
Dervin, thank you so much, and good luck with all the training, your training process and everything else, and we wish you all the best in the future, and hopefully we'll see you back on the
Most
business
definitely.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, and thanks much for having me, and thanks to the listeners for listening in.
And thanks to our sponsors, Cayman Insurance Center and Cayman Medical Supplies. Thank you so much. And to our producer, Miss Susan Watson. Thank you, Susan. To our listeners, our YouTube viewers, and just about everyone else who tuned in this morning, thank you. Until Thursday, God's willing, when we'll bring you another Business Buzz. In the meantime, please stay safe. Have a wonderful day. And from me, your host, Anita Khan.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211. And Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 45 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.